English Language, Sample Paper Part 1, Question 1. Do not spend more than 30 minutes on this question. Write a composition, 300 to 350 words, on any one of the following. 20 marks. 1. Write an original short story that begins with the line, "Behind me, I could hear men and women screaming. It was deafening. Behind me, I could hear men and women screaming. It was deafening. My friends and I were screaming too. The roller coaster moved up and then sharply flew down so that it seemed we would crash. I wanted to close my eyes, but I didn't. I knew I would write about this experience on my blog, so I didn't want to miss any detail. When the roller coaster finally came to a stop, I got off dizzily and walked to the ride's exit. Most of the parents were waiting there for us. They grinned when they saw our wind-swept hair and shocked faces. It was one of the most thrilling rides in the country. My friends and I were in Entertainment City, a theme park that was spread out over many acres. There were rides, picnic spots, shopping centers and restaurants. The roller coaster was the final ride. We had tried everything else. So we, a group of 25 adults and kids, made our way to a quiet picnic spot. The adults took out their frisbees, badminton gears, throw rings and balls and went off to play. We were instructed to stay close by, where they could keep an eye on us. At first, we watched them for a while. When that got boring, we played games of our own. As usual, we played hide and seek. I was the first volunteer. So, I counted to 30 and took off. Almost immediately I caught one of my friends who was plump. Could see him hiding behind a thin tree. It wasn't easy as the picnic spot was vast, but I found everyone. As we went back to the blankets to cool off and get something to drink, someone said, "Where's Janvi?" We froze and looked around. Janvi was the youngest in our group. I hadn't found her because I had forgotten all about her. She was such a quiet little mouse. Janvi, Janvi, we searched for her among the bushes and trees, but she was nowhere to be seen. By this time, the adults started getting nervous and spread out to search for her. I suddenly remembered something. When the roller coaster had come to a stop, Janvi had cried and pleaded to go one more time. Could she have snuck away? I raced to the section with all the rides and reached there just in time to see the roller coaster come to a stop. And who should get out from the back but little Janvi? I dragged her back to everyone where she got properly scolded. But the little daredevil smiled through all of it because she was so thrilled. Fast forward a few decades and I read an article about one of the most accomplished female pilots in the country. Her face looked all grown up, but the smile was the same devilish grin. Little Janvi had found the most thrilling ride of all and made it her profession. In the article, she talked about the roller coaster ride and how she knew then that she would fly through the air someday. For the rest of us, that day had been fun and games, but for a little girl, it had been the inspiration that shaped her life. 2. Your cousin got married 5 days ago. Narrate the event and detail your responsibilities in it. My cousin's wedding was simple, elegant and meaningful. My cousin and her husband are 2 of the best people I have ever met. They are generous and compassionate. Their wedding reflected this. The ceremony was performed in the beautiful backyard garden of my cousin's parents' house. The garden was wonderfully green with many flowering plants. The bride did not want flowers to be plucked and used to decorate as she believed they deserved to live longer. The only decorations were bamboo poles connected with ropes from which hung pictures with inspirational quotes. At the end of the wedding, the guests could take whichever quote they really liked. This was my idea and I had a lot of fun looking up quotations on the internet and getting them printed on beautiful images. My cousin appreciated my creativity and said that the guests had complimented her on such a unique idea. The wedding was blue and white in theme. Blue represented the sky and white represented the clouds. All the guests had been requested to wear these colors in their invitations. The bride wore white and the groom wore a blue suit. The guests were very sportive as they too had done their best to comply. The ceremony began with a prayer to Mother Earth thanking her for nurturing us. Then there was an exchange of vows. Following that, we had some peppy music that everyone danced to. I was the DJ for this. I had chosen songs all the way back from the 80s to the present. This was appreciated by the older crowd who performed a few moves. Soon, it became a dance battle between the elderly and the young. I have never seen such enthusiastic dancing from people with white hair. The guests then relaxed and cooled off in the shade of the trees. This is when the food was served. It was a vegan meal with tasty, nutritious dishes. The guests helped themselves to a buffet set up in one corner of the garden. Areca palm plates were used with edible wheat spoons. The most popular dish was the falafel sandwich served with hummus and pickled vegetables. Then the bride, groom and their family members took turns making short speeches thanking everyone and expressing their admiration and joy. Soon after this, people started leaving, each with an inspiration quotation in their hands. When I went to hug my cousin and bid her goodbye, she and her new husband presented me with a special gift for all my hard work. It was a fully paid summer course at an artist's village where I would learn the basics of at least 10 different artistic professions like sculpting, pottery and prop making. I felt truly blessed to receive such a gift. It was the perfect end to a perfect day. 3. Sports teach us more about life than textbooks. State your views either for or against this statement. Sports teach us more life than textbooks. For the statement, life is more about just gathering knowledge. It is about experiencing the world around us and interacting with the people we meet. While textbooks can give us theoretical knowledge to help us in our lives, sports equip us to deal with life realistically. It is fair to say that sports teach us more about life than textbooks. Sports people develop their bodies and keep themselves fit and healthy. This allows them to enjoy life better. They learn the value of being physically fit. No textbook can teach a person this lesson. Moreover, sports impact the person's emotional growth and character development. People learn endurance and courage even in the face of impossible goals. They learn to not give up and keep fighting even when it seems like they will lose. They become mentally strong and emotionally mature. They learn that life is full of ups and downs. A match may be won followed by one that is lost. In both cases, the person accepts the result and moves on. This is a very important life lesson. It teaches a person to keep going irrespective of their personal problems and failures. It teaches them to accept circumstances instead of losing hope. Words cannot teach this lesson. As part of a team, sports people learn how to adjust and get along with others. A team would have many people with different personalities. It is natural for them to clash with each other. However, they have to stay united to win, so they resolve their differences and learn to forgive and let go. As a part of a family and society, they learn to apply this principle in real life as well. One can read a story in a textbook about forgiveness, but cannot understand its importance. Sports teach people about its importance. Sports can cure people of oversensitivity. Sometimes, one does not get picked to play, sometimes there are humiliations to face. A sportsperson has to take all that in his stride. Getting angry or depressed will not help. You have to put aside your feelings and cheer for the team. This is an invaluable lesson in letting go of one's ego and focusing on the greater good. A person grows into a stronger, more mature, patient and adjustable being because of sports. Words show by example, but sports teach by experience. So, in life, sports will always be a better teacher than textbooks. 4. Your parents have decided to shift you from your village to a big city. Describe the day that you left the village and how you felt. It was a bright summer day. The birds were all out singing and cooing without restraint. The green fields stretched as far as the eye could see. I stood at the edge of one end of our farm and breathed deeply. It was a bittersweet day for me. This was the day I would leave my beautiful village and move to the city with my parents. I was scared of what life would be like. I didn't mind that we would be moving into a smaller house than the one at our farm. I didn't even mind that I would have to go to a school that had classes on Saturdays. But I didn't know how I would feel without being able to see the blue sky stretch out in front of me. No rolling fields, no flocks of birds. I had spent all of my life mostly outdoors. I would miss it too much. I would miss the people. They say it takes a village to raise a child. It is very true in my case. Everyone in the village raised me. I have eaten at every home, played in every field and been scolded by every grandma and grandpa in the village. I spent the last few days visiting everyone to say goodbye. It was extremely sad. The little old women patted my cheeks and told me to listen to my parents. The shopkeepers with their strange, tiny roadside shops gave me sweets and asked me to never forget them. My favorite aunt made deep-fried snacks to take with me. My friends from school cried and gave me a large greeting card. Worst of all, my own grandfather hugged me tightly and said that he might not be alive to see me again. I decided then that whatever happened, I would make my parents bring me back for every holiday. I wondered how I would adapt to the city. I was really apprehensive about school. Would I fit in? Would the cool, slick city kids accept me? My parents said that I was very mature for my age. So I would always make friends wherever I go. I still have my doubts. The trucks were being loaded when I wandered back home. It was almost time to leave. I took my bag and climbed into the back of one of the trucks. As a child, I was lucky enough to travel in the back with the furniture, instead of sitting uncomfortably in a seat for 6 hours. As the truck started, tears welled up in my eyes. I waved to everyone I saw on the way out of the village. I said 100 silent goodbyes. Though, it was the beginning of a new way of life. I knew that I would never forget the old. 5. Study the picture given below. Write a short story or a description or an account of what it suggests to you. Your composition may be about the subject of the picture or you may take suggestions from it. However, there must be a clear connection between the picture and your composition. Theresa was in the passenger seat, totally confused. The map was open on her lap and her phone was in her hand. She was being given directions to reach their destination by the app. But it seemed to be taking them in circles. Her father, who was driving, looked annoyed. Why are we circling at same spot? I don't understand. Theresa stared out of the window. She and her father lived in a small town. They had decided to drive to the nearest metropolitan city that morning to get a few supplies for their housewarming ceremony. It had been almost a year since their last visit. In that time, many new roads had been laid and a series of flyovers had been opened. It was difficult because they were unfamiliar with the new routes. They did not know which exit to take to reach the old roads. Theresa shook her phone. This app is messed up, Dad. It says that we have to go left, but there's no exit there. They were on a flyover that branched out into 3 arcs. I'm just going to go straight ahead. We can ask for directions when we see a shop or an auto, said her dad. Theresa folded up her outdated map. She put on some music and settled back in her seat. It was a warm day and she was tired already. She felt her eyes closing, but then she suddenly sat forward and pointed ahead. Dad, look at that. Is that man green? Her father gasped in surprise. There was a little green man standing on the pavement waving to them. The car stopped right in front of him and he quickly scrambled into the back seat. Theresa turned around to stare. It's rude to stare, young lady, said the creature. Who are you? She asked, astonished. The elf of right direction. I'm here to guide you, he said. Theresa turned back around and exchanged a look with her father. This was bizarre. The creature told them to turn around and gave them directions. It seemed to take hours. When they finally pulled up in front of the shop, Theresa turned around to see the elf melting into a puddle right in the back seat. She started shaking in fear. Theresa, wake up. We're here. Wake up. Her father was shaking her. Theresa bolted awake and turned around to see the empty back seat. It had all been a dream. What a strange dream too. She got out of the car smiling. The next time they got lost on the flyovers, she hoped they really could have an elf of right direction guiding them. Question 2. Do not spend more than 20 minutes on this question. Select any one of the following. 10 marks. 1. Write a letter to your friend telling him all about a road accident that you saw the previous day. 4. B. Highview Apartments, Justice Ranga Road, Kolkata 700,045. The 2nd of February, 2025. Dear Avirup, it's been time we wrote to each other. I'm thrilled to have been selected for the basketball team. I really hope I do well. This school term is pretty boring. There are no events to plan for, no major holidays and no field trips. It gets boring sometimes. My parents have promised they'll take us on a short trip if a long holiday comes along soon. Frankly, after yesterday, I'm not sure if I want to go on a trip. I saw something terrible yesterday evening when I was in the auto coming home from school. We were on South Bogue Road, which is a major two-way road connecting one area to another. It's always really busy. Anyway, I heard the sounds of 1 or 2 boys whooping and shouting somewhere behind us. I couldn't see who it was immediately, but in a few minutes they overtook us. 2 bikes with 3 boys each were speeding down the road, weaving through the traffic. They were the ones making all that noise. The auto driver shook his head and told us that those boys were bad. I agreed with him. The boys were ahead of us when it happened. There was a medium-sized truck which they wanted to overtake. One bike went to the left of the truck and the other to the right. They were still going very fast. The bike on the right didn't wait to see what was coming up the opposite lane. It was a large tourist bus. The bike hit the bus head-on. I'll never forget seeing those 3 boys flying through the air, each in a different direction. The auto driver stopped just in time. I was too scared to get out. There was blood everywhere. People started running to the boys. Some were on their phones calling the police and the ambulance services. The auto driver took a lane to the left of us and we left the scene as we didn't want to be stuck there for hours. All of us in the auto were silent in shock. I saw in the evening news that 2 of the boys had died and 1 was in a serious condition. It was so tragic. I don't think I'll ever go beyond the speed limit when I get my bike. I'll be careful, that's for sure. I still feel sick whenever I think of the accident. Thrill-seeking is not a good enough reason to lose one's life, don't you agree? Anyway, I hope you had a better week than I did. I remembered that you asked for a particular book to do research. I'm sending it with this letter. Take your time in returning it. I hope you find it helpful. Write soon. Your loving friend, Shashank. 2. Write a letter to a TV station asking them to make changes in their television serials, which are offensive and vulgar. 83 Halves, Thejus Road, Kolkata 700,047. The 26th of January 2025. The producer. HYC Entertainment Channel Mumbai. Subject: Need for decent and better quality programs. Sir, I am a concerned citizen writing to you on behalf of every person who wishes to see good quality television. In the past, HYC Entertainment had a great balance of educational and entertainment shows. Currently, you have only the shows for entertainment, but the quality of the content in them has gone down as well. It seems that there is a current trend towards reality television in which people are humiliated or victimized. However, I would like to specifically pay attention to the serials being broadcast. In most of them, women with an avalanche of makeup play the role of scheming witches who try to harm and kill others. The situations and dialogues do not have any logic. Worse, the villains are shown speaking in a vulgar manner and engaging in violent acts. Children watch these shows along with the adults in their families. You can imagine what impression is made on these young minds. Media is a reflection of the society. It also has a responsibility in shaping society. How are these unrealistic, unnatural and vulgar shows going to help society? There are so many great novels that can be adapted and made into serials. But time and again, we only see serials that propagate anger, hatred and disharmony within families. It has got to stop. I hope that you at HYC will make the necessary steps towards more promising and enlightening content. I wish that you consider my feedback as a constructive opinion given by a viewer. I would appreciate it if you get back to me so that we could have a deeper conversation. I have many insights to share. Thanking you. Yours sincerely, Aurora Malik. Question 3. 1. Your school is hosting an art and craft exhibition. Write a notice informing the pupils at your school about the event. 5 marks. Color Palette Inter-School Art and Craft Competition on the 10th of February 2025 from 10 am to 3 pm at Carnation Hall, St. Helens School. All pupils from classes 9 to 12 who wish to register should give their names to the Vice Principal on or before the 5th of February 2025. For further details, please contact school office. 2. Write an email to a local artist inviting him/her to inaugurate the exhibition and be the chief guest on the occasion. 5 marks. Razwan@gmail.com. Subject: Invitation to inaugurate our art exhibition as chief guest. Dear Sir, I hope this email finds you well. We are delighted to invite you to inaugurate our upcoming inter-school art and craft competition and grace the occasion as the chief guest. Your remarkable contributions to the world of art have been truly inspiring, and we believe your presence would add immense value to this special event. The exhibition is scheduled for the 10th of February 2025, Carnation Hall, St. Helens School. Starting at 10 am to 3 pm, it will showcase the creative works of talented artists, celebrating art in its various forms. Your words of encouragement and insights would be a great source of motivation for both the artists and the attendees. We would be honored to have you join us for this event. Please let us know at your earliest convenience if you are available. We look forward to your positive response. Warm regards,